In today's fast-paced world, we often find ourselves trapped in the cycle of endless desire. Always striving for more, always reaching for the next big thing. Whether it's a promotion at work, the latest gadgets, or social validation, we're conditioned to believe that happiness lies just beyond our grasp, in the next acquisition or achievement. Yet, ancient philosophies have long warned against this relentless pursuit of external rewards, and one of the most profound of these is Epicureanism. Epicureanism, founded by the Greek philosopher Epicurus, is often misunderstood as a philosophy of indulgence, a search for hedonistic pleasures in excess. However, at its core, Epicureanism is a philosophy of self-sufficiency, a belief in finding true happiness not in external possessions or achievements, but in the cultivation of inner peace, emotional balance, and contentment with what we have. One of the central ideas of Epicurean thought is the idea that self-sufficiency, both materially and emotionally, is the key to a tranquil life. The more we are dependent on external circumstances, possessions, or validation from others, the more vulnerable we become to anxiety, stress, and dissatisfaction. But when we cultivate self-sufficiency, we free ourselves from this constant chase, creating a life of lasting peace, simplicity, and happiness. In this video, we'll dive deep into the idea of self-sufficiency in Epicureanism. We'll explore why Epicurus championed the importance of living with fewer desires, why contentment with what we already have leads to greater happiness, and how adopting a more self-sufficient mindset can reduce stress, anxiety, and the constant craving for more. Let's begin our exploration of self-sufficiency in the context of Epicureanism, and how this age-old wisdom can guide us toward a more peaceful, balanced, and fulfilling life in the modern world. Epicurus believed that the root of human suffering lies in unnecessary desires. The desires that society often encourages us to pursue, yet which lead only to frustration and disappointment. According to Epicureanism, the pursuit of excessive pleasure and material wealth only feeds the cycle of desire, never bringing lasting happiness. In fact, it is often the craving for more that prevents us from finding peace. In his teachings, Epicurus emphasized that contentment and self-sufficiency, the ability to live with only what is necessary, are the true sources of happiness. Epicurus argued that it isn't the abundance of wealth or possessions that leads to peace, but rather the freedom from the desire for more. When we can learn to live with only what we need, we eliminate the sources of anxiety that come from chasing after things that ultimately do not contribute to our well-being. In terms of material self-sufficiency, Epicurus advised that we should limit our desires to the basic necessities: food, shelter, and simple pleasures. This doesn't mean rejecting all comforts, but rather embracing a simpler life where our happiness doesn't rely on accumulating more things. By stripping away the excess, we create space for deeper, more meaningful sources of fulfillment. Epicurus believed that simple pleasures, like enjoying a meal with friends, appreciating the beauty of nature, or spending time in peaceful reflection, are the true sources of happiness. He saw no need to accumulate wealth or live in luxury, since these things often come with their own set of problems, such as the stress of maintaining them or the anxiety of losing them. In fact, many modern studies support the idea that wealth beyond a certain point does not significantly increase happiness. Once our basic needs are met, additional material possessions and wealth often lead to diminishing returns in terms of emotional fulfillment. This aligns with the Epicurean view. Contentment is not about how much we have, but how little we need. The second aspect of self-sufficiency that Epicureanism emphasizes is emotional self-sufficiency. This means developing the inner strength to remain peaceful and content without relying on external validation or circumstances. In today's world, it's all too easy to measure our self-worth based on external factors: our social media presence, the approval of others, or our success at work. However, this constant comparison and need for validation only feed feelings of insecurity and anxiety. Epicurus taught that true emotional independence comes from understanding our desires and distinguishing between necessary and unnecessary wants. He urged his followers to focus on the pursuit of wisdom, to cultivate friendships, and to engage in simple pleasures, all of which lead to a contented and emotionally stable life. By reducing our dependence on others for validation or approval, we cultivate inner peace and freedom. Epicurus believed that by focusing on intellectual and emotional fulfillment, such as the joy of learning, forming meaningful friendships, and appreciating the present moment, we become less vulnerable to the fluctuations of external circumstances. Epicurus also recognized the importance of friendship in achieving self-sufficiency, but in a way that does not foster dependency. Friendship, in Epicureanism, is not about seeking validation or relying on others for emotional support, but about finding mutual enjoyment, sharing wisdom, and cultivating genuine bonds. This is why Epicurus famously said that of all the things that wisdom provides to help one live one's entire life in happiness, the greatest by far is the possession of friendship. However, Epicurus was clear that friendship should not be seen as a means of fulfilling personal needs or gaining advantages. True friendship, according to Epicurus, is based on mutual respect, shared interests, and the joy of simply being in each other's company. Such relationships are rooted in self-sufficiency, as they provide emotional nourishment without creating unnecessary attachments or dependencies. When we strive for self-sufficiency, both material and emotional, we naturally reduce the stress and anxiety that arise from external pressures. If we are content with less, we are no longer burdened by the fear of losing what we have or the anxiety of always needing more. By living simply and cultivating inner peace, we are better equipped to handle the challenges and uncertainties that life throws our way. Epicurus understood that the more we are dependent on external things, whether wealth, status, or approval, the more vulnerable we become to stress and disappointment. These things are often fleeting and out of our control, so attaching our happiness to them can be a source of constant anxiety. In contrast, by focusing on internal resources, wisdom, self-awareness, contentment, we create a more stable and resilient foundation for happiness. Moreover, self-sufficiency leads to a greater sense of agency. When we no longer need external validation or material accumulation to feel fulfilled, we are free to live on our own terms, making choices based on what truly brings us joy and peace. This shift in perspective helps us approach life with a greater sense of purpose, less burdened by the constant pursuit of external goals. In today's world, where consumerism and constant connectivity often fuel desires for more things, more success, more recognition, the wisdom of Epicureanism offers a refreshing antidote. By embracing the principles of self-sufficiency and simplicity, we can find greater joy in what we already have, live more peacefully, and reduce the stress of constant striving. We can start by recognizing the unnecessary desires that clutter our lives and learning to focus on the essentials: meaningful relationships, the pursuit of knowledge, and the joy of simple pleasures. The pursuit of self-sufficiency does not mean rejecting all forms of enjoyment or relationships, but rather finding happiness in less, removing the clutter from our emotional and material lives to make room for greater peace. As we've explored, the philosophy of Epicureanism teaches us that self-sufficiency, both materially and emotionally, is the key to lasting happiness. By focusing on the simple pleasures of life, nurturing genuine friendships, and developing a peaceful inner life, we can free ourselves from the anxiety of constant striving and create a life of lasting contentment. If you found these insights helpful and inspiring, don't forget to subscribe to the Unfolding Journey channel. Join us as we continue exploring the wisdom of ancient philosophies and how they can help us live more fulfilling, peaceful, and intentional lives. Thank you for watching, and let's continue on this journey together.